Let's study about the development of ESP. What is the development of ESP? ESP is not a monolithic universal phenomenon, said Hutchinson and Waters. It has developed at different speeds in different countries. The approaches that I illustrate can be found working somewhere in the world at the current moment. Presently, there might be the usage of the different types of the approaches overall the world. Let's see the individually about the approaches. Number one, register analysis. Register analysis can be the concept of particular language. Register analysis in ESP was tailored for the pedagogical purpose, that is making the ESP course more relevant to learners' needs, not intended for the purpose to discuss the nature of registers of English per se. Register analysis revealed that there was very little that was distinctive in the sentence grammar of scientific English beyond a tendency to favor particular forms such as the present simple tense, the passive voice, and nominal compound. Second, rhetorical or discourse analysis, second approach. Beyond the sentence is actually or simply called rhetorical or discourse analysis. In the first phase, ESP had focused on language at the sentence level. The development shifted into the level above the sentence, understanding how sentences were combined in discourse to produce meaning. ESP became closely involved with the emerging field of discourse or rhetorical analysis. Rhetorical patterns of text organization differed significantly between a specialist area of use. The structure placed according to the area of work or study. The typical teaching materials based on the discourse approach taught students to recognize textual patterns and discourse markers mainly by means of text disgramming exercises. The third approach, which developed the ESP, is target situation analysis. The aim of this phase is to take the existing knowledge and set it on a more scientific basis by establishing procedures for relating language analysis more closely to learners' reason for learning. There is a purpose of ESP course that support this phase. The purpose is to enable learners to function in situations which the learners will use the language they are learning. Then the ESP course design process should proceed by first identifying the target situation and then carrying out the right analysis of the linguistic parts of that situation. It will form the syllabus of the ESP course. This process known as need analysis. What had been done previously in piecemeal way become some things systemized in learner needs was apparently placed at the center of the course design process. Number 4, skill and strategies are skills. Skills and strategies are skill and strategies. In this phase, it considers not only the language itself, but also the thinking processes that underlay language use. This phase was set up to cope with study situations where the medium of instruction is the mother tongue, but students need to read a number of particular texts which are available only in English. As a result, it concentrated their efforts on reading strategy. In this phase, we don't need to focus closely on the surface forms of the language. The focus should be placed on the underlying interpretive strategies which enable the learner to cope with the surface forms of the language. For example, gauging the meaning or guesstimating the meaning of words from context, so on. Note, this approach generally emphasizes on reading or listening strategy. The characteristic exercise gave the learners to reflect on and analyze how meaning is produced in and retrieved from written or spoken language. The last approach, which worked to develop ESP, is a learning-centered approach. Previously, in the origins of ESP, I told, if you recall your memory, I told that there were three forces that had role in ESP and became its characteristics. They were needs. Number one. Number second, new ideas about language. And number third, new ideas about learning. All the approaches can be based on the description of language used, and the concern in each case is with describing what people do with language. The concern is not actually on the language use only, but the main concern is with language learning, because a truly valid approach to ESP must be based on an understanding of the process of language learning. The importance and implications of the distinction that can be made between language use and language learning can be clear for us to understand each of the stages of ESP development.